All right, Maestro. All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Demmetrius Knowles. My right hand here, Mr. Julio Guzman. We're coming to you live from downtown Homestead. We are Talk Visual 305. We have an amazing guest, guys. We are here with an amazing guest. Julio, bring him in.
These people have brought such a great experience when it comes to food. They have been featured on Delicioso Bites with Belkys, a la Carta, Check Please.
Yes, right.
And those are just a few of the great places that they've been featured, letting them know all about what's happening with food here in Homestead. We've got Jodrick, Chef Jodrick, and we also have his wife, Jessica, and they're gonna talk about everything happening with the great restaurant Chefs on the Run.
So good morning, good morning, good morning. We have the esteemed honor of having both of you, a 2-for-1 special. Two for one special, guys. And we wanted to say thank you for coming on. We would like to give you your digital flowers while you're here with us to let you know that you're not in it alone. We're here together. So simply just to let you know, as we give you your flowers, we'd like to say thank you for the things you have done. Thank you for the things you're currently doing, and thank you for the things you will do in the future. So with that being said, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
And what a great idea you guys doing this.
Thank you for inviting us, by the way.
No worries.
We want to highlight all the great things that are happening, not only in Homestead, everything South Dade, and you hear a lot about the great chefs, those, the nationally recognized chefs, and I feel we've got one right here locally, hometown. What you've been able to bring in terms of your food, your product, it's something for all of us to be proud of. So we're here to highlight how you got there, how you came up with the idea, how your wife still allows you to do it.
That's it. Partnership, buddy.
It's a team effort,
That's it. All in,
That's
all
it.
for
We're
it.
in the trenches. We got to get through.
So, Jodrick, speaking of you, moving here 1997, coming from Puerto Rico. Yeah. By the way, I was just in Puerto Rico, one of my favorite places to go visit.
Mine too.
Mofongo is. I was just telling him I would want mofongo. So guys, just give us a little intro to you and your lovely wife. Give us a little intro to what you got going on.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, like you said, I moved over here in 1997. Straight from the island. I was raised in a hotel, so I was already around the industry since I was a kid. I learned how to. Our mom taught us how to be self-efficient. Mm-hmm. So cooking, cleaning, washing, everything was on the table. When you have 3 boys and then 1 more on the way back then. Yeah. So she raised us to be self-efficient. I knew how to cook when I was a kid. I knew at a certain point, but by high school, that I wanted to cook. That was a dream. So I came to the States. And in a roundup of almost 4 years that I lived in the States, I worked every position in the industry. But I never got to be a cook. What I wanted was to cook, but I never got to cook. So when I got the opportunity to cook, I worked for a restaurant. It was very known in South Florida, Café to Tango.
That's it. I remember.
The mother
Shout
store.
out. Shout
out. Mother store was actually in Miami. While we had some locations in California and also in Orlando. And that restaurant itself really just embraced, for me, it was a blast of culinary because we had back then 72 items on the menu and every item was different. And we made everything from scratch.
Did you say 72 items?
72 items on the menu. And
wow.
each one of them were individual. We made everything besides our soy sauce and our ketchup and our mayo. But for the most part, we learned how to sear tuna, how to trim meat, how to do all these things. So by the time that we catapult into the future and I become a sous chef and I'm able to come to open a business down here. I already knew everything that had to do with the service industry, so it allowed us to be able to put all the little departments in motion. I knew how to serve the tables, how to wash the dishes, how to greet the people, how to take the orders, how to bake the food, and the process.
So food, always they say, is the key to everyone's heart.
That's what they say.
Was that the case?
Vice versa.
She was a good one.
It was vice versa. It's the people try to take it as a taboo. Your wife doesn't cook. I'm like, I don't need her to cook. That's your job. Where's my charm?
That's right.
If she cooks, then what do I got? I don't got the looks. I got the cooks, but I don't got the looks. That's right. So
and like you said, you're a kitchen veteran. I love that. I appreciate you for your service in the kitchen.
I put my quarter already so far, and then I'm going for the 50 cents. So.
So in saying that, obviously, you could have done anything. You could have gone anywhere. Here we are, your homestead.
Yeah, it's a funny story because I think it's been a lot of years since we first opened, and people will ask us, huh?
Me. I'm
Right.
here. That's
Exactly.
why he's here.
That's right.
So we back when before Chefs on the Run, before we opened the doors at 10 East Maury Drive.
Right.
We were no different to anybody that went through the bubble to the crash of the 08.
2008.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
Yes.
that really reshaped our lives and everything. And then we were kind of seeing, we knew that we had to stay local at Homestead.
Right.
Going to Miami, we had to surrender a lot of our things. From going to 3 vehicles to one.
Right.
Just kind of really
Crunching it down.
exactly compartmentalize our lives and
Right.
everything. And the location that we acquired, it's really the only place that it was open whenever you want to open a restaurant.
Right.
In my career, I've opened 5, not mine, but I've opened 5 restaurants. I have the pleasure to go to Canada
Right.
to open a restaurant. I was
Okay.
sent to Madrid, to Spain to train, to train people in Miami.
How
back
was
home.
that?
The biggest culture shock of my life. Yeah.
What made it a big culture shock for you? Habla español, right?
Sí.
No, yeah,
No,
Spanish is not a problem. Let's say that you go into what you believe that is a Walgreens and you want a soda or gum. You only go for
Not in
medication.
Madrid.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Medication. So
Right.
it's the way of eating was different. I'm showing up at a restaurant was supposed to be breakfast, and only the bars open wine and tapas.
That's right.
It was completely the way of living, and it was really really interesting to see. And as I get older, I see how I can see myself living along that type of timeline of how they do things in Spain.
Jodrick, you said that you had every position in the restaurant.
Yes.
Right. And for the audience that doesn't understand what a sous chef is, can you tell us what a sous chef is compared to the master chef?
Okay,
Ooh.
of course. Just like any great artist, the sculptor or painter, they have their assistants, and sometimes the assistants to the sculptor are actually doing most of the work.
Right.
And then the master artist shows up and says,
Yeah.
That's it. Finito.
That's it.
Look at me.
Finito.
Fin.
you know,
I mean, we know that with Thomas Edison, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But the experience of being a sous chef was actually for me exhilarating because I was very culinary driven.
Okay.
By the time that we were pregnant, our son was on the way. I knew that I wanted more, and
Right.
and in my position with the place that I went to do tangos, it was really hard to grow. Only because people love to work in that place so much, so that it was really hard for positions to open. So that's why I push, and surprisingly to a lot of people to know, I became a sous chef. I was able to grow a lot quicker than expected in my I became a sous chef in my 20s.
Right.
And
So-
that's what brought us down here.
So, Chef on the Run, the name.
The name, we had this conversation the other day. Seems that we remember it
Well-
differently.
Right.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
typical in
And that's
marriage.
okay.
Yes,
Right.
100%.
Right.
I think one of the things I want to make sure to point out, right, before we go into that, is the reason he chose Homestead is not only because I was born and raised here.
That's right.
And I was taught to be proud of being born and raised here in
Well
a
said.
town that has so many different cultures.
100%.
And when my mom moved here in the 70s, it was the only place that sold to a woman without a man's signature. That is why
Whoa.
she ended up here
wow,
in
that's it.
Homestead, which is innovative. It's
Right,
something
yeah.
that people don't realize about Homestead. And Homestead was
Yeah.
ahead of the game.
100%.
She didn't do
Laws
that in
will say that
Miami.
too. Right.
She didn't do that in Miami. So we still live in that house that I was born in. I was born in James Archer Smith Hospital, right?
Okay.
So the second thing that happened was the 2008 bubble, and then our son got diagnosed with autism. So we needed to figure out
Right,
how are we going to be parents, put food on the table,
Right.
and have him strive. Because 20 years ago, it was medicate him and that's it.
Right.
And our method was, wait, we don't want to
We don't want
medicate
that.
him.
No.
And thankfully, Jodrick is great with food, and we are great parents. We're in it.
You're in
We're
it.
in it. We decided to be parents, and you
Right.
have to do it, and you have to give it your all,
Right.
right? So all of that happened, and when we decided to go to a rinconcito, before then, We were 3.5 years working from our house.
Really?
We did cantina services.
Wow. For those of you, cantina services
You know?
are order
Right.
food to go. I mean,
Right.
you're gonna
Right.
cater. It's catering.
Right. And it was 5 days a week. And it was from our small kitchen. And how we came with Chefs on the Run was because right before then, right before we became Cantina, mom knew you guys are struggling.
Okay.
Right? And how are we going to get through this? So my mom loves Jodrick. My mom and my mom was best friends with his father. That's
Okay.
how we met, right?
Okay.
So we've been friends since children. And my mom was like, what are we going to do? So my mom here, a jack of all trades, like many
Mom,
parents,
yep, that's
right?
it.
They had to
We're
survive.
right. My mom here, when she was here, and she's a paralegal still, she cooked, she sewed, she cleaned people's houses. She was still a paralegal. So she hustled, right?
Right?
Right. Do it.
Now, when she decided to have her own place in 1981 after I was born, because she said, I have to raise my kids. So I was raised in that environment. Figure it out. Let's figure it out together. So one of his recipes, one of the restaurants that he helped open came out in a Spanish version of Good Morning America.
Esprit America.
Okay.
And my mom was super excited. And she said, wait, but they didn't say your name. And she said, why not? He goes, oh, that's a chef's life. And she's like, that's not my kid's chef's life. I'll tell you what.
You're gonna be highlighted.
Right. So
Somebody took credit for your
Right.
work, you know?
Yeah.
Just like the sous chef.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
example you just
exactly.
gave.
Right.
So she was, and he was the chef there. And they did not give him that credit. But he was hired for those 3 months, figure out our menu, do it, all right, bye. But
This is
they
a
still
national
should-
television
Yes.
show.
And we should
Good morning.
have.
Was Good Morning?
Millions
It
of
was
them,
Despierta
millions of
America,
people are
but in
watching.
Spanish.
Right.
Right. So
Okay.
what happens? My mom says, I don't care if we are eating tuna fish y arroz aquí. We have to figure this out. What are
Okay.
we going to do? So that's our memory of it, right? She was hired to cook somebody's food in May for graduation, and she said to him, Mira, ¿me puedes ayudar con esto? I need some help with this. How about
Right.
decorate it, whatever? Then she had a conversation with him.
She,
about-
not your mom.
my mom.
No, my
Oh,
mother-in-law,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
My
All right.
mom.
Okay.
Right.
Had a conversation with him.
And she's the one that just would keep on. She's our biggest supporter.
That's
She's
it.
Yeah.
just
She's
like
the flame.
She's
huh?
the
Yes.
She
voice.
helped you
The
find
voice.
your worth.
Yes. He knew
can
his
say
worth
that.
as a chef
Right.
in a restaurant, in a big kitchen. He knew, I mean, not because he's sitting here, not because he's my husband, but even then, when I would see him, every boss of his will call him franchise. He's beast in the
right.
kitchen.
That's right.
Okay.
He's doing 3-4 different things. There was no station that he was shy to say, I don't, if the pizza guy didn't show up, he'd say,
I got this.
I got this, show me how to do it. That's why he's able to make his own desserts, saute his own thing, cut. I mean, he comes from a family of butchers.
Yeah.
He knows every little step of the way. The hard work of being a dishwasher, the hard work of being a server.
Complete.
So how to inspire the audience or to give the audience some context? How do you get the attention of the chef if you're a server, if you're just bussing tables? How do you say, man, I aspire to be in the kitchen with
Keep
you?
pushing.
Right.
So what I can say is when I worked on it's funny, we just celebrated our 15 years and my wife celebrated.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Jessica.
Chefs on the Run. We've
That's
been
right.
24 years
Well,
together.
well,
That's good.
That's it.
But she surprised me with one of my oldest friends that I worked with him in Orlando, and I love this guy. Shout out to David Rodriguez. He's my boy.
That's right.
And one thing that we discussed is that Tutu Tangos was a place of second chances. And then on my second time around, because I worked for the industry, then I ended up going back to Puerto Rico. I got my culinary degree, and then I came back, and I was fortunate enough to come back to the job that I left before.
Okay.
And back when I worked in the company the first time, I was put up straight on the fryer. That's where you start. No experience. All I had was ambition.
No experience.
I was serving tables, and I went into the career, dove into the career that I wanted.
Yeah.
That I knew that I was meant to be, and I stopped serving tables where I was making better money.
Right.
But it's not what I want. It's not what motivated me.
Right.
And I started the fryer. Just really big work. 240 capacity sitting restaurant. $50,000 weekend nights every Fridays and Saturdays separately. Individually, and I dominated the station. I was good at it, but I am like, okay, that's what I want to go next.
Right.
Okay.
So, and one day I just, I looked at one of the employees, one of the guys. I'm like, hey, Odie, you work fryer, right? He's like, yeah, let's switch. He said, you work this station? I'm like, no, but I seen you guys and I'm going to do it.
Right.
And then we just kept on doing it. And one day the
Okay.
chef came in and he said, my nickname was Jojo. He's like, Jojo, what are you doing on the grill? I didn't schedule on the grill. I'm like, I know, but I want to be on the grill.
Right.
So he's like, and he just kept on watching me throughout, and there was no inconveniences. I just cooked,
Right.
and then I rotated, and then nobody wanted to work pizza or pantry. And I said, that's where I'm going next. I want to go where I want to do what you don't want to do.
Got it.
Because that's what I want to do. Because
So
I
it's all
want
determination in you.
Right.
It's a dry sponge, just huge dry sponge, just waiting to soak and absorb.
But you
really.
have to have determination.
Right.
You have to know where you want to go. You have to have that zeroed in and say, this is what and use every stepping stone in a respectful way. Keep going,
Respect
keep
the chain of
learning.
command.
Right.
Keep it.
Right.
That is ultimately what all of our parents did.
Right.
What we do as business people. You gotta think, how are we gonna get more people? How are we going to strive?
So, Chef on the Run, you guys, I see the location here. You started off inside of the house, right? And in that way, any ideas what a food truck would have been an option for you guys in the beginning?
We know
Or that was-
we spoke about the food truck, and
I wanted that.
yeah.
and around the same time that the market crash of 08 and then all these things, the food truck was starting to
Pick
sprout.
up.
It was starting to become a really big thing. You had the I think it was called the Great American Food Truck
Yeah.
Race with Tyler Florence, and all these things that they were almost like highlighting that it's okay to have, you can have really good home, down to earth food, but
Yeah.
you can also have really exceptional food, because you had all these chefs who had lost their jobs, who stopped working for a bigger place and then invested on a food truck. We did look into it into some time, but then because we know that it's not just, okay, let's food truck and what we can do. It's also the laws
Right.
that revolve around
Yeah,
it. And
yeah.
while now you can see food trucks in different
Yeah, popping
areas
up.
permanently in a parking lot, back then,
It wasn't.
it
Wasn't an
wasn't. I'm talking about obviously back when the city was out in US 1.
Right.
And the laws back then said that you can have one of those catering trucks. You can only park for 30 minutes and then
And you gotta move,
go to the
circulate.
side and move on. I'm like, that's not what we want to do. And the life of a food truck, if somebody like me is watching that show, those shows, you can really tell that it's hard, because they had them go to different places, and a lot of food, especially for South Florida, is regional.
Right.
Because I can get black beans here doesn't mean that I can get black beans if I went to Oklahoma
Right.
for an event or whatever, right? So there's a lot of stuff a lot of things that are regional. And at the end of the day, we know that it was going to be harder to have a food truck. It will be beneficial if we were of a certain size and we have the capability or have the location and have a food truck that goes out to cater events, but nobody's going to guard your house like you do.
100%.
Also.
The statistics show that 95% of restaurants don't make it, right? So you guys were already up against some heavy
my
odds,
God.
right? So take us back to the moment where you guys sat down and said, you know what? We are going to open our own spot. And then you think about, what's the menu going to be? Is it
Right.
going to be 72 items, or is it going to be
Nah.
is it going to be 10 items?
It's gonna go right. It's gonna circle back right to my mom.
Right.
My
and,
mom.
and understanding that there are some factors that are playing into society now where
Yes.
there's a bunch of restaurants closing and
Yes.
we are trying to survive.
Right.
Yes.
We want to make sure that you guys thrive. We want to help you thrive. So take us back to the time where you decided to open your own shop and what was going to be on the menu.
Well, it's funny because it's a few little components. Okay, so we happen to know the people who was there on that location. Now, I found this article years after, and this article basically spoke that how Homestead on itself has more people than restaurants per capita.
Yeah.
So we have less restaurants for the amount of people. This is already over 10 years ago, before our numbers grew up
Shut
to the
up.
numbers.
Right,
Obviously,
right,
you
right.
know where we stand right now, and how it was really hard to find a turnkey location.
Right.
Because you don't have access. It's not like Miami that you have somebody close and then somebody's right away.
Right.
We lacked restaurants.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we were kind of involved with these people. We were helping them through some kinks that they were going through, and then the lady decided. My mother-in-law tells us that the lady wants to sell her lease.
Okay.
So because she couldn't, she had to make a decision, and she decided to surrender her lease.
Right.
And that's where my mother came to place. We sat down as a family. We weighed out. The money came out of miracle.
God said, here you go. Te voy a
Out of the
bendecir.
ground. Okay.
out of the ground, so most honestly, getting in debt to just like anybody else that opens a business, you make sacrifices, and then we decided. Then we made the decision as a family.
Okay.
It wasn't like I want this location, I want to open. So
for in the way that I see it, right, is number one, we were chefs on the run at home. We were chefs on the run at home because mom had that conversation with him and said, if you, did she ask you the question? Let's see if I'm getting this right. What would you name?
if we had a restaurant, what would you name it? And the first thing that came out of my mouth was Chefs on the Run. And she asked me why.
As a paralegal, she made it, right? And she asked you why, and you said...
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And then she asked me why, and I told her because I'm a chef and I'm always running.
Right, right. So a couple weeks later, we get Chefs on the Run in the mail. She made a DBA. And he was like, what is this? And she goes,
Here's your license.
your
This is your
business.
legal
It's like,
document.
you'll use
this
it one
is
day.
now,
You'll
right?
use it one day.
Then that woman that was there at 10 East Mowry Drive, she allowed us to pay her in 1 year. That is something that is unheard of.
Another blessing.
Right? So she said, I need to go. She was having her own personal problems. And she said, you guys have been always kind to me. I know you guys are looking for a restaurant. You have a year to pay it off. I want to emphasize this to anybody that is wanting to do something. We had zero money for this.
Right.
Our son was going to school all the way in Kendall at a great transition school that was important to us. I was still going to New World in downtown Miami. Like we were juggling. I was finishing my bachelor's and we were juggling. And when I graduated top of my class. I graduated with a scholarship to FIU. Thank you. And I was told, okay, you have a scholarship here at FIU, but I had to work at my son's school too for his scholarship. And we couldn't hire anyone for the first year. So I
there was
prayed
tough
on
decisions.
it. Yes.
Yeah, it was.
And I prayed on it and I said, my family, I always have to choose what's best for my family. Period.
That's it.
So I'm going to do this. And once we are successful, I will go back to school.
Right.
I will have that opportunity, but I owe it to my family to do this, to be that server, to learn, because I had no experience in serving. He was my teacher,
as you
which
go.
is really hard for your
Yes.
husband to be teaching you
I'd
something.
say, 'cause that
I
goes
know
home too.
Yes, right. You have to separate.
Oh,
it.
trust me.
So then when we had the restaurant, first year we worked alone. We had his brother come, his best friend come, may he rest in peace. Like
That's it.
we had family came to help us.
Right.
And 4 months into it, we had a fire with no
Whoa.
fire insurance, and we lost the whole kitchen.
Holy
and I
moly.
will tell you how clients that became, they came and helped us clean up.
Wow.
Homestead came in and he said, "Wow, like
This
people
is
are
a real
coming."
community.
That's
right.
exactly right. That is why one of the big reasons we have dug our boots in deep
You got your
into
roots.
downtown
Real-
Homestead is
Real solid.
yes.
You lived it.
I've always been raised to be Puerto Rican first, and then we are proud to be Puerto Rican, but we are also proud to be part of this community.
Right.
Because what's going on in a negative way and everything has nothing to do. We need to stick together as
100%.
a community, and that's what they did. 4 months into it, and mind you, in November we had received the first invitation any restaurant in Homestead has received to go to South Beach Food and Wine Festival.
at that.
We had only been open for 3 months.
What?
So people were recognizing that. People were seeing his talent, our passion.
He won the best burger in Miami-Dade.
Yes.
I think in Florida.
In South Florida. And
South
he
Florida.
comes out, we come out. When I say he comes out, he always says,
It's
he
we.
corrects me and says
not-
we.
it's not me.
It's
It's
a
we.
family
It's not an
effort.
I, it's
It's
we.
not I, it's we.
But we won South Beach Food and Wine Festival 2 years? Was it 2 years or 3 years?
3 years.
3 years in a row.
That's major accomplishment.
Small. These are thousands and these were 10,000, 8,000 people. They look like cattle waiting outside to get in, right?
little bites.
And
Here comes the
here we are,
herd.
That's it.
and
Open the
we were,
gates.
and guess what? The community helped us get there. We didn't have the money to get there. We had to be able to rent a car.
Yeah.
You know,
Provisions.
Yes.
Our staff volunteered.
And we
also,
consistently
so they wanted to
did
experience
it. We constantly did it, knowing that we wanted to be the culinary beacon
Right.
of downtown Homestead.
Yeah.
We've
Right.
always had the dreams of that. I remember what this was like before Andrew.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that side of US 1, but we need to make sure that this side of
this side.
US
We
1.
keep
Yeah.
preaching. We're on the same team.
What's that?
We're beating on the same drum.
We've been
and we're not
beating on
going to
the-
stop.
Yes!
We're not going to stop until we see this place become what it should have
100%.
been.
100%.
Guys, there's life on the other side of Chrome, you know. So when you get on Chrome
On the other
Avenue,
side of US 1.
on the side of US 1 and on the other side of Chrome, they assume, you know, that
Right.
everything must go on the opposite side of town. I know the demographics, they pull comps of the area, and when you're trying to pick out where you're going to put your stake as far as a business owner, and you realize you got to take a chance somewhere. And yes, if you pull the comps, you will say no to the area because what it used to be. If they pull comps today, they will say, "Whoa, I didn't know that's there now. I didn't know that several million. I didn't know Snibley's over there. I didn't know this was over there. I didn't know that big fish farm that's so Sapphire fish
Yeah.
farm is over there, amongst others." There's a lot of things happening downtown, and
100%.
and we're definitely trying to shape the attitudes that, hey, invest on this side of town. You can get a very good return on your money if you happen to just take a chance on this side of town. There's a lot of life on this side of town. Some of the wealthiest people is on this side of town. FYI, I'm just saying.
Something that I have told Julio for years, and now that we're here, is we have been pushing for this side, right? We use it every time we went to South Beach for the Wine Festival. We would go with the trolley information,
Right.
the Everglades information.
We took home to
We would take Homestead with us.
Right.
Yes, we would make sure to say we're in Homestead. When people would say, "Oh, but it's so far," I would say, "Yes, but there's other things to do."
We're
And
the
how
gateways
far
to
do
the
you
Keys,
travel?
right?
By the way, that gateway to the Keys, about 14 years.
Who
what,
coined
was
it? Well, don't tell me you coined it.
I sure did. I took it to Yvonne Knowles, who is a wonderful woman,
Shout
and I
out to
took
Yvonne.
10
That's it.
pages. 10 pages of information, and one of them was, we need to say that this is the gateway to the Keys. We have 2 national parks.
That's it.
We need to get on to the turnpike. I was with her in those meetings, fighting for us
Wow.
to get on the turnpike. We used to have a sign on US 1 that said Historic Downtown Homestead. I've noticed that it's gone. Don't know why, but it's gone. I know that I have heard, well, there's nothing to do in downtown Homestead. And I said, but wait a second, there's plenty. There's 16 restaurants,
Yep.
which I just recently found out because I'm trying to push that on my own.
I didn't know that either.
We have-
Now I know.
My son has helped me, well, our son has helped me build an Instagram page that's called explore.your.local. And it has all those restaurants. We're doing it intentionally because I, for years, have been trying to say, put Discover Downtown Homestead in our power bills. Everybody has to pay their power bill.
Right.
That side of US 1 has to pay their power bill. If they pay their power bill and it says Discover Downtown Homestead, I know all the restaurants would give a discount.
Yeah.
10%, 50%,
100%,
20%, whatever they choose to give. If we had to scan the barcode on that map out there, if we had to scan the barcode in every power bill, people will support local. People will support the community that supports them.
100%.
That is what I really feel needs to
And
happen.
trust me, all of the fight that you have and the fight that we now have as a collective group, even with the others that's watching our podcast and around who's not, we know that downtown can be better, will be better, one way or the other. We're kicking and screaming. We hear you. We're in the same fight. Now you get to see it's more than just you
100%.
speaking. So now we get to say, hey, it's more than just yourself, because sometimes you get into those rooms and you feel like you're not being heard. And it may seem like it's falling on deaf ear, but it's going to fall on the right ear. Eventually, because as I was talking to Julio, and I said, yes, at this meeting, you spoke and you said some stuff that you didn't know who you were talking, what audience were in that room.
Right.
But that touched a lot of people in that room, that moment, that 3 minutes of time that happened to be at that meeting really mattered. Downtown Losnes Park is back, it's open, it's ready. They're having things that's going on. We're going to have some reconstructions of stuff. I mean, it's going to be a pain point there, but I know that we can definitely do some stuff to kind of hopefully curve that.
And I think a few things need to happen. First, you wanna make sure that your city supports local business.
Right.
Number one, this should be evident. It should be very clear. There should never be a question that your city supports local government.
Right.
So if you have a narrative out there that people say it's hard to do business with the city of Homestead, nothing gets done, everything is on slow motion, nothing is happening at the pace that it should be happening, so that's problem number one. So whether you need to change the code, whether you need to give a director more discretion to make decisions that immediately affect the local business, that conversation needs to be had, because if we continue to go down this road, businesses will never ever come here, and we're going to continue to have this conversation for 10 years.
Well, we need to first start with amending the law of having signs outside on our sidewalk.
Right. How are you not able to promote your business? Or there's a whole new sign ordinance
I
that
know.
they are
They're
discussing,
working
and they're
on.
having a workshop on that. So that's another thing. And also consider that with this new tax amendment that's happening, where they're going to, they're going to expand the homestead exemption, $150,000. That's going to be less revenue coming into the city of Homestead. So where does the city think they are going to make that up? You've got to start attracting businesses, because businesses do not get to benefit from the homestead exemption. So double down and make it attractive for people to come to the city of Homestead.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that's happening is Miami-Dade tourist tax. There's a lot of people that are having to pay that Miami-Dade tourist tax.
Which is
And we
extremely
put-
outdated.
Extremely outdated. The first thing is, the bill was made in 1983, okay? And it says that if a business makes over $450,000 a year, they have to pay a 1% tourist tax. We got hit with that last year. I read the law, called them up and said, we don't make $450,000. I would love that, but we don't make that. And I'm not
You don't
in a
make
tourist
it
spot.
yet.
Yeah. Yes, I don't make it yet.
Right.
And
If
I
we didn't
told
have
them,
the challenges that we have, and we have more foot traffic, then
right.
that was going to hold different,
you
a
know,
whole different subject.
because here's the thing. Businesses, and all of us know this, business is not the same since 2019, right? For anybody. And in the industry, it's mainly like, what we've talked about is people do more takeout than dine in. People have
Yeah.
gotten used to that. Same thing as like in movie theater. People stream more than go into the movie theater, right? There's all this. So restaurants are dealing with this. And then restaurants are also dealing with higher prices of produce, just like everybody at home. But this tourist tax, I tried to fight it, and they made me pay it, and made us pay it, and it was all year, and they said you have to pay the whole year, and then
And they
by
want
the end of
retro
the year,
also.
Right.
and they wanted retro since 2020.
That's not the same, because I know that the Miami Association of Realtors, we would go to Tallahassee and we would advocate for getting rid of the business rent tax. Because
Oh,
that was
yes.
another one that was on
Right.
there. And those are all the tenants that just have to keep dishing out
Yes.
money
Right.
for all this tax. And I'm like, you need to make policy where it benefits
Right.
The
the
business.
restaurant
The business.
owners.
Right, because that's
100%.
why. That's one of the things it's one of the reasons why it's 95% of the.
But it's not the
people
same
closing.
tax, right?
No, it's not
No,
the
it's
same
not.
Business rent tax
The
and
tourist
tourism
tax
tax.
is different. So I started to read up on it, and all year then I showed them, these are our taxes. Please know. Oh, you don't make $450,000. We do not make that much.
Right. And you would
We
think that
had
they
to
would modify it,
spend
right?
so much.
Right.
So I asked them, how can we amend this law? How can we amend this? First of all, it's outdated. 1983 minimum wage was $3.25. So let's get out of there. Minimum wage right now is going to be up to $15. We need to change this law that it can be to $1 million. If you make $1 million, then that's fine. Let's count for inflation. They don't want to do that.
Jessica, your passion, obviously, it pours out of you. And passionate people sometimes need to consider being in local government, right?
Right.
Well-
Local city government, so that your voice can be heard, and then you have the position to make changes, to make policy changes.
Well, they don't want to annex Leisure City, so we can't.
I'm in Leisure City, and I was born and raised there. And I also, I was raised with Oprah, right? Oprah raised me, however people say it. And I remember so many people telling her, you should run for president or you should run for government. And I admired that she said, I do more remembering that I'm part of the people. I will scream as loud as I need to. I will always be part of the community. I will always be, sometimes people will ask us to move to that side of US 1 because we would do better. They'll help us. And we have both said adamantly, who's going to fight for this side
If we leave, who's going to fight for downtown?
And we close on Sundays. People say, why do you close on Sundays, Chef? You can make so much money. Our family is first.
Yeah. Right.
This community is
You
first.
can't replace your memories with money.
Yeah.
Y tiene que dedicarle tiempo a Dios también.
100%. And God blesses
That's right.
us. You know, we've had not only the fire, we've had flooding, we've had, you know, what was the...
Well, the unfortunate power outages that put us out of commission every so often.
Right.
You know, there's one thing after another. So you have to have the determination that he had. It has to be in you 100% of the time as an entrepreneur.
So I have a question for you. What is the perfect scenario for Chef on the Run as we tend to grow our downtown Homestead? What would you like to see happen? I know you've fought the good fight, and you're continuing to fight the good fight, and we're with you in this process because we're all business owners downtown. What is the perfect scenario that you would like to see while we're above the ground?
Who wants to answer? You answer first. Go ahead.
What is your perfect scenario of Chef on the Run for downtown Homestead, or just in general, period?
One thing I learned very early, especially when we were going through our beer and wine license, is that this strip right here in Homestead, it's the arts and the entertainment area.
Right.
There's a reason why prior to where the Homestead station is,
Right.
we had 4 bars. Might not be the bars that people wanted, but we have 4 bars that brought traffic and that brought
Stickenstein's,
Stickenstein's,
The
the
Martini
Monkey
Bar,
Bar,
the
the Martini
Cowboy,
Bar,
the Monkey Bar.
and the Dade County Jail.
Right.
The Dade County.
That was the bar.
And the country
bail
bar.
bonds from the cross street.
And it's that I think that I remember back then that people say, "Oh, there's nothing in that side." Meanwhile, I know that people of different ages, 25 and up, 30 and up, 30 to 50 demographics, they want some sort of social life.
Right.
And the only place in Homestead that you can have a social life
Is in this
is
strip.
in this strip over here.
Right.
So it's being, it's. I feel that it's being mismarketed. I'm sure that places like Chili's, I don't know if Flanagan's is coming, right? But any of these major corporations that are opening, that for sure they make money off their liquor, do not want to close at midnight.
Right.
But the ordinance and the code said that that's where they are because you want to be in the new Homestead.
Yeah.
That's where your clock stops. I know that we will be able to do more for ourselves, for our community, for our staff, for our numbers if we have more foot traffic. I would love to see that this area over here is really converting into a social hub.
Right.
And I remember a story a few years back. I think it was like in the wharf areas, an area in Tampa, that it got revitalized completely and it became a social hub.
It was Ybor City.
No, not Ybor City. Ybor City's always been
But
popular.
Ybor City has grown.
They gave
That's
everybody
something
liquor
that they
license.
need to-
They gave everybody liquor license, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden the place
But
blew
so
up.
it's Mount Dora, and so this is what our, sorry to like butt in here, right? But this is what our representatives and historic committee needs to be looking at.
So forward
the towns that were dead, how did they grow,
Right.
right?
In this specific place in Tampa, they were really tedious about what the business they wanted. And listen, I have nothing against religion or Christian,
Right.
of course, but it's on. If you have an area like this one that has the access to a social life,
Right.
maybe you want to limit how many churches you have around,
Right.
because not a lot of places are gonna. If I had the budget to do so, I have to go through to the city and appear because I have a church within
a certain distance.
And people don't know that.
Exactly.
They've created policy to limit the number of
Yes.
churches. It may have been a little late, and now you have to kind of wait till
Right.
these people relocate. However, I also wanted to ask a question in terms of location. Have you ever had the conversation of considering another location? Even though I think when somebody's attracted to your food, they're going to find you anywhere, right?
Yes.
But sometimes if you're in a high visible Chrome Avenue, US 1, is it worth sometimes paying the premium to have that visibility in a business like yours?
Right.
It does, but it's something that usually it does require partnership. Because you want to be able to, if you want to do things at a larger scale, you need a bigger team, and you need people who are professionals on their areas. I can always go to the kitchen and say and do a kitchen layout and tell you this goes here, and I tell you everything that we need to open to go from the bottom up. I have my knowledge of the front of the house, but there's somebody out there that works, that is more focused on that will have better ideas. And our team, we tell them, listen, I'm changing this, but if it doesn't work for you, you're working the station, tell me and we'll revert. I don't have a problem. I'm not prideful enough to say it's my way and that's the only way. But when it comes to relocation and things like that, we've always been open to possibilities, but we know that we will never be able to do it ourselves, because a better location, a better exposure does bring, does come, the price tag does come with a better foot traffic.
We've talked about it, and not because he's Jodrick and I he's called, he was nicknamed franchise, but our restaurant has burgers, Puerto Rican food, sandwiches, sautés. No one is going to be able to do all four things, and their own desserts, right? We would have to, and I've had this conversation with people before, you would have to choose, do you want a burger and sandwich place? Do you want a Puerto Rican place? Because Chefs on the Run could be the main hub, and then they could branch out to be one burger spot or sandwich spot.
If we could, we could separate the restaurant to separate the four different
for people to franchise
individual
that
businesses.
100%. But to go back to what I would like to see happen in downtown Homestead, number one, I feel that the art needs to be pushed down here. If we had, my background is fine art, right? Going to New Worlds and getting my bachelor's there. I sold artwork in Coconut Grove for free on the streets. I sold artwork on 8th Street for free. We need to have where the restaurants are included. We have a brand new patio that took me 4 years, but that is another topic for another, podcast. But we are open to having artists showcase their work. Well, we've been showcasing artists for free on our walls intentionally, because being an artist is hard.
Right.
I'm not going to charge you to put your art on my walls. If we had artists outside on a certain Saturday, right? You pick a Saturday, or you pick a Thursday if that's what it is, but I think it would be better on a Saturday.
And vibrant communities
so
are big on art and culinary.
The Homestead Station, the empty spaces there, they had artwork inside of them. I'm a big component of that because I like Park West. They love me too. But at the end of the day, Chef on the Run, its location, good food, people find you. They know where you are. The question is, how do we get so much more the newcomers that's coming into town, like the community center or the welcome centers, to say, hey, try this, scan the barcode.
Right.
So scanning the barcode, coming downtown, it's available. You're right there. They'll find you no matter where you are. Some of the best food is made in places that you will never know.
Yeah.
But you know that I know the name of the chef, and I know Chef on the Run. That name resonates worldwide. So now the question is, how do we get our city in alignment with what the future thinkers and the forward thinkers to be a part of what we have going on? Okay, here's what we're having a problem with. We need traffic.
Foot traffic.
We need foot
Yeah,
traffic.
I'm thinking.
Art brings foot
I'm trying to
traffic.
see
Murals bring foot traffic. We see that at Wynwood.
Right.
in my perfect vision. I see Chefs on the Run as a 4,000 square foot restaurant with a bar. And families are coming to hang out till midnight.
Right.
Yes.
Send us your email, cor@chefandorigins.com for partnerships.
Because my part of my
I would love
introduction
that.
to this plaza, into the Homestead Station, was the end caps were going to be restaurants, and it's still empty, it's still vacant for the same purpose. They're looking for a restaurant. Now, why don't you give a particular restaurant, say, X amount of years
Of what?
versus being vacant? Why don't you
X
say
amount of years of free rent?
whatever? That's what I'm alluding to. But why don't you allow that restaurant to relocate there and says, here's X amount of years. The biggest grease trap is stemmed from there in that plaza.
Do they have a grease trap? That was going to be my question.
Yeah, they have a localized
that's one of the
grease
reasons
trap.
why we chose our place too.
Right.
We had a-
grease trap
we had a-
and a hood.
Right.
You have to look ahead to
But
that.
that's the plaza's already scared. That plaza is skewed for that. It's all designed starting from there. So simply that, instead of having these vacant space there for the last 6 years, give a potential tenant that same ability. You have it vacant doing nothing.
Right.
We were
Stop writing it off.
We were reached out by
And
them years ago.
We bring people from West Palm Beach.
Right.
We bring people there's Europeans that
Right.
will email us for a reservation because they're planning their trip to the Everglades.
Right.
And they want to eat at
Stop.
Chefs on the Run.
That's right.
Right? We have people that come on the cruise ships.
Yep.
And because I ask, right?
How did you find us?
How did you find us?
That's right.
Oh, well, we got here. We're on a cruise for 1 day. And they take an Uber down here to eat our food.
That says a lot.
That says a lot.
Good food.
We
You-
not
you-
only
you'll
want to
travel for
shine a
good food.
beacon to Homestead,
Right.
but it has been our family's goal since day one to make Puerto Rican food internationally known. Because when you go to an international restaurant, you don't have alcapurrias, surujitos, bolitas de queso, arroz con gandules, mofongo. You don't have that.
Don't forget mofongo.
Mofongo. And we have a burger with mofongo. Everything we cook is made to order. You know, so people need to see that.
Right. So in our closing,
I want to highlight the new Instagram page that she just made, so we can all support.
Thank you.
And follow.
Our son made it with us. It is a page called explore.your.local. It is on Instagram. It has all 16 restaurants so far that you can eat in at Chefs on the Run is one of them, yes. But we have them in alphabetical order, and we intend to keep promoting all the restaurants. My next goal is to make the scan the barcode, to give those out myself. I'm giving them to the other restaurants in town too, so they can help. We need to work together as a community.
So
I think we ought to Talk Visual 305 out on the street and go to those restaurants
100%.
and have conversations with those people.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's take it on the road. Of course, we all have something to share. We all have something to say.
So
we all have something that
you
we
have
feel is
our
different.
commitment to be a part of that, because now that we're seeing the greater need, because people love food, they usually hang out. This is downtown. We want to see it become the beacon that we've always known it to be. We know that this side of town really needs some support. I see what the CRA team is doing, and I know that they can use more support. Their hands are loose up to a certain point, but then they have to answer to consul and so on, and whoever their powers to be. So our concern right now is to find something now. We need it now.
Yes.
What is the now effect?
I keep trying to get Grazianos to come down here,
Oh.
just to have a conversation and tell us
Why
or why not. Because everybody has a certain perception as to why some of these bigger restaurants do not come to downtown Homestead. I want to ask the question directly to the owner. Why are you
not?
guys not considering Homestead?
Well, we heard, but this is back year 2 and 3. We heard directly from a gentleman that I remember there was in a
And we hear
meeting.
this still today.
There's nothing, and this comes from the mouth of developers. This is coming from the people who are laying the ground and the rock in the ground and building the structures. There's nothing on east side of east.
There's
of,
nothing west of Homestead.
There's something west of US 1.
Right.
So
Well,
that's
we're
gonna
that's
change
been
and
the
that's what
narrative.
we're trying to change.
So we're going to change.
Remember, right now in the Redlands, right? They used to say there was nothing out there. I remember back in the days, it's behind God's back coming to Homestead. It's so far out of the way, but realize that you're the gateway to the Keys, and now some of the largest homes are in the Redlands now, and some of the most successful individuals now in the country are now gravitating to Homestead. So you can get in now, or you can kind of cry later that you should have gotten in. Here we are, pleading to the powers that be that we simply need more attention to our downtown in any capacity that we can get it in. First, we need, you build it and they shall come. So now we're here. We're not going to be quiet about the process, but what we could use now is traffic. More traffic. And I'm talking about good traffic. I'm not talking congestion where the sign, the damn arm is down and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, forget that, right? That's a whole nother
That's a whole
podcast,
nother
right?
segment, right.
I think that the one thing that I would want to say in closing is I realize that all of us are struggling, right? Everyone is making $2 and spending 10.
Yep.
Eating out is a luxury, so when you can eat out, please support the community that supports you, right?
That's right.
Like I said, there's 16 restaurants down here that you can choose from. Maybe you have a boutique. Maybe you have something that you're selling from your house. Maybe there's a collaboration that people can then come, and we need more stores down here. right? So we realize eating out is a luxury. We barely eat out ourselves. Everyone is struggling, but please help your community that supports you and
You
eat
think we
out
can-
local.
Do you think a food fest in Losnes Park would?
I think that would. We've been screaming that for years.
You go to Wynwood. You drive all the way from Homestead to Wynwood to go and have that food fest. So downtown Miami or South Beach.
The one thing that we need to understand is when we go to South Beach Food and Wine Festival, right? And I was asked this by someone, hey, how can we do that here? And I said, well, South Beach Food and Wine Festival does it for scholarships, right? We need to find why we want to do it.
Well, Rotary
And-
can do it, right? I mean, we
Right.
can probably talk to those guys.
And we need to have accessibility to people that are doing it from home. We need to have accessibility to people with, I mean, I know that Tallahassee we were just at that meeting together, gave $3 million to the city of Homestead.
Right.
Grants should come out of that
Right.
to help businesses that are still here. I understand we need a better infrastructure, but we need these businesses. Small businesses have always been the backbone of America, right? We need to be able to change the tourist tax and amend that law. We need to have art in downtown Homestead. The building that we are at is a perfect spot for a welcome to downtown Homestead to look like a stamp, a photo op. We need to get people to this side through our power bills because everybody has to pay the power.
Right.
And we also need to lower our power bills, lower our cost of living because minimum wage goes up, produce is up, insurance is up, gas is up.
Everything is up.
Everything's up.
Except business.
Right.
And the businesses we're working
We
to
need
bring
to be able
what we
to-
can to cut our margins so we
Yes.
can create volume.
We need to
Right.
be here for our community.
Right.
So for those of you that may have not had the chance to visit Chefs on the Run,
Right.
you've got authentic Puerto Rican cuisine. You got you got the best burgers in all of South Florida. You've got desserts made here by Chef Jodrick. Please come out and enjoy some of that Puerto Rican cuisine.
Try the mofongo.
Chefs
Love
on
it.
the Run in Homestead.com. You can check out our menu there. Our specials are there. The special we were just having on the flyer is 3 entrees and a dessert for $50. We
30% savings.
We would love to serve you. We give teacher discounts, Baptist worker discounts. We give 20% to every military since our day
The
one.
one every day of the
We
week.
appreciate our military, and we know they don't get paid enough. We know teachers don't get paid enough. So we really strive to help our community, and we've worked with World Central Kitchen helping our community. We really do. So please check us out. We're here to serve you, and we hope you love it.
So,
and
guys-
hold on. And if you're going to order online, which is a thing, right?
Right.
One way that you can support your local business, if you're already going to order online, it's not talking about us only, of course. If you're going to order online, visit your restaurant's homepage. I know that it's the Uber, but guys, convenience is killing us.
Yeah.
DoorDash, Uber, all these platforms are billionaires overnight because of convenience. Visit the webpage of the business. You want to order from Casita, you order from ERD Spice, Chefs on the Run, Casita Tejas, or
Sac
Sac Passe,
But how does it
any of
then
these
get to the
restaurants.
Uber driver to bring you the food? Like if you go to the
It does-
homepage,
Yeah.
If you go to the homepage,
look for a platform that does not, if you don't recognize the name, it says order here, it doesn't say Uber, Grubhub, or Postmates, order from there. You're helping that restaurant save
those
on
third
commissions.
parties charge 30%.
whoa.
And
I
surprisingly,
didn't know
still
that.
the people know
So they're charging them and they're charging the
exactly.
consumer.
Yes.
They're
yes.
they're double dipping.
They're
yes.
they're a
That's why they're
platform.
millionaires. That's
they're
why
a-
he said overnight.
Right.
They're a hub of access.
But you have to
You know what I
have
mean?
them.
So because when you go hungry, you look at where am I going to choose from? But if you already know, if you know, go to the local businesses homepage, find if they have a platform that belongs to them. You are that on itself. You are helping your local business by saving on commission.
Do you guys have Café?
Café?
don't.
Unfortunately, we don't have the logistics. But if you give me that 4,000 square foot with a
That's
bar,
Café
We need a
there.
ventanita. We need a
Yeah, we need
ventanita.
a ventanita.
with a good rent,
But-
that's
but
but
The webpage is super important for people to order through there. And if any business out there, any small business out there needs help in trying to organize themselves better, we have always been helping other businesses. We want businesses to thrive.
succeed.
Your
That
success
is
is
one
my
of the
success.
reasons
Yep.
why we're doing this page. And I used to go to the city and always talk about there are plenty of mouths out there for all of us
Yeah.
to eat
100%.
from. We don't. It's
More
not
now-
a
more now than
competition,
before.
More than before.
You know. You know,
Absolutely.
but we need that. We need to work as a community. We need to create more jobs.
Yeah.
We need more businesses down here.
100%. Guys, as we
Thank you for
bring
joining
this to a
by the
close.
way.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
As we bring this to a close, Talk Visual 305 is a part of the community now. I mean, we sometimes want you to like and subscribe all the time. However, we see that most of you come on, you kind of view it. We are, viewing is up to over 100,000. We need more like and subscribe to keep this flowing to get beyond the four walls. Please, if you know anyone that has not gone on to Talk Visual 305 on YouTube, we also have our podcast with Apple, Spotify.
Yeah,
We're on
Amazon.
all those major platforms as well too. So in the event you want to listen in your car of the past shows that like this particular one, you can go online and simply do that as well through all the major platforms for listening while you're in your car of the past guests we've had on. So we are Talk Visual 305. We are downtown Homestead, and I underscore Homestead. So that doesn't mean that we don't expand beyond our borderline. So keep in mind that we are looking to grow. So thank you for joining us. This is another episode of Talk Visual 305. We'll see you next time. Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you. Have a great day.